Hi guys, welcome back. Shiloh chapter 12, here we go. Sure seems strange having Shiloh in the house that night after trying so hard to keep him a secret. Strange too the way Ma takes to him. Seems like she can hardly pass his box next to the stove without reaching down to pet him, making low sympathy noises in her throat, the way she does when Darlin or Becky or me gets sick. Dad don't say much. He comes home to find Shiloh there. He just stands off to one side listening to what Doc Murphy said about him. He don't get close enough for Shiloh to take a lick. When supper's over, I go off to the bathroom to brush my teeth. I peek back through the doorway, and Dad's over by Shiloh's box, letting him lick his plate clean. Dad crouches there for a minute or two, scratching all down Shiloh's back and up again. What I'm figuring, see, is by the time Shiloh's better, everybody'll love him so much they just can't let him go. Even Dad. I'm hoping Dad'll go over to see Judge Travers and make him an offer for Shiloh. And then he'll be ours. The trouble with this kind of thinking, though, is we don't have the money. I'll probably be through junior high school almost before I can earn enough to pay Doc Murphy's bill. To buy Shiloh from Judd, even if Judd's willing to sell, I'd have to collect aluminum cans all through high school too. I can't make very much with cans. I try to think of what other kind of work I can do to get more pay. But except for delivering the county paper on Friday afternoons, nothing else comes to mind. And somebody's got that job already. It's sort of like Shiloh's there and he's not. In the next couple days, everybody's petting him every chance they get. Becky feeds him the crusts off her toast, breaks off little bits, and shrieks every time she feels Shiloh's mouth slurp 'em out of her fingers. Ma's putting beans in jars. All the while, she hums to Shiloh like he's a baby in a cradle, not a dog in a box. Dara Lynn's got an old hairbrush, and she just can't seem to brush that dog enough. Even Dad sits down one evening to get out every tick Shiloh's got on him, takes a little dab of turpentine and rubs it on the tick's rear end. The tick backs out of Shiloh's skin mighty quick. The thing that makes it seem like Shiloh's not there is that nobody except me and Darla Lynn and Becky talks about him. Ma and Dad don't even once mention his name out loud, as though they're saying it makes him ours, which he ain't. As though if you don't talk about him, maybe he'll disappear as quietly as he came in that day in the rain. What's everyone waiting for? I guess something to happen. Every day Shiloh's getting a little stronger. 2 days after Doc Murphy brought him here, Shiloh's up limping around on his bad leg. Ma put some paper beside the box for him to do his business on, but he won't. So for the first couple days I pick him up and carry him out to the yard. After he's done his business there, I bring him up in again. But now he's pushing open the back screen himself and going down into the yard, then coming back and tapping at the screen with one paw so we'll let him in. Somebody sometime is bound to see him. Becky Somebody is bound to see him. Becky's sometime bound to say something. Even David Howard, when his ma came to pick him up the other day, opens his mouth right off and says something about Shiloh. Who's Shiloh, she asks, and David realizes he let it slip. An old stray cat, he says, and now I've got David lying. Worst part about Shiloh here in the house, where I can play with him anytime I like, is that it's hard to leave him when I got to go out collecting cans. But I've got to earn money now more than ever. So each day when Shiloh takes his long nap, I sit out with my plastic garbage bag hanging out of one jeans pocket. One day I walk all the way to Friendly and ask at the grocery store where the county paper is dropped if they'll put in my name as a carrier. Mr. Wallace says he'll turn my name in, but he's already got 6 names ahead of me, and one of them is a grown man with a car. Don't see how I can match that. I study the bulletin board at the back of the store where people put up notices. Stand on one foot and then the other, reading the whole dang board, and it seems like everybody's got something to sell or wanting to be hired. Nobody wants to buy. Only 2 jobs listed. One for an appliance salesman and some woman who wants her house painted. Mr. Wallace sees me looking at the board and he comes over and takes down the notice about a woman wanting her house painted. That's already taken, he tells me. That night while we finish supper, Shiloh's going around the table putting his nose in everyone's lap, looking mournful, waiting for somebody to slip him something to eat. I can tell Ma and Dad trying their best not to laugh. Ma won't let us feed him at the table. What I'm dying to ask Dad is, did he tell Judd Travers about his dog being here? Dad don't mention it, so I don't ask. Maybe I don't want to know, I tell myself. And then, just as Ma's dishing up peach cobbler that we're going to eat with hot milk, I hear a sound outside that makes my bones feel like icicles inside me. Shiloh hears it too, and I know it right away, what I think it is, because Shiloh sticks his tail between his legs and puts his belly low to the floor and climbs back into his box. Ma and Dad look at Shiloh. They look at each other. Then there's a slam of a truck door outside, footsteps on the ground, footsteps on the porch, and then a rap, rap, rap at the back door. Everybody stops eating, like we was all froze to death in our chairs. Dad gets up and turns on the porch light. There he is, Judd Travers, looking mean as nasty as ever. I seen him look. He don't even ask. He come in, just opens the screen and steps inside. "Ray Preston," he says, "somebody told me you got my dog." Dad's looking serious. He nods and points toward the box by the stove. "Over there, Judd, but he's hurt. We've been taking care of him for you." Judd stares at Shiloh and then at Dad. "Well, I'll be danged," he says almost softly. "Somebody knows my dog is missing, takes him in, and don't even have the decency to tell me." "We were going to tell you," Dad says, looking straight at Judd. "Nobody wants to hear his dog's been hurt, though, and we want to make sure he was going to pull through." Then he turns to me. "Marty," he says, "you tell Mr. Travers how this dog come here." He knows I don't. He knows I'd rather swim a river full of crocodiles than face Judd Travers. But it's my story to tell, not Dad's. He always did make us face up to what we done. "You dog come over here twice because you been mistreating it," I say. My voice don't sound near as strong as Dad's, sort of quivery. I clear my throat and go on. "So the second time it come over here, I built it a pen up in the woods, and Dad didn't know it, and the German shepherds of the Bakers got in and fought Shiloh." "Fought who?" "The beagle, Shiloh, that's what I've been calling him. And Shiloh got hurt bad. It was my fault for not making the fence higher. We took him to Doc Murphy and he patched him up." Judd Travers is still staring around the room like he never saw the likes of us before. Finally, he lets out his breath through his teeth and slowly shakes his head. "And I got to find all this out from Doc Murphy?" I couldn't believe Doc would go tell him. "Somebody goes to the doc the other day and sees a beagle lying on his back porch. Tells me about it later. Says he thinks it's maybe dog's mine. So I ride over to Doc's this evening, and he tells me it was you who brought him in." Judd walks across the kitchen, and at the thud of each footstep, Shiloh huddles down farther and farther in the box like maybe he can make himself disappear. His whole body's shaking. Ma sees it. I know because she watches for a minute, then turns her face quick. Judd stares down at Shiloh, at his bandage, and then at the shaved place where he's all stitched up, and the rip on his ear. "Look what you done to my dog," he yells at me. Eyes big and angry. I swallow. Nothing I can say to that. Travers squats down by the box. He puts out his hand, and Shiloh leans away like he's going to be hit. If that don't prove the way he's treating them, I don't know what would. But Judd saying I never mistreat my dogs. This one was shy when I got him, that's all. I sure never caused an injury like this one. Wouldn't never happen if you'd brought him back like I told you. I close my eyes. When I open them again, Judd's putting his hands on Shiloh's head, rough like, sort of patting him. and you can tell he ain't got that much practice being kind. Still hard to prove Shiloh wasn't mistreated before he got to Judd's. How do you go about proving something like that? It was wrong of Marty to pen your dog up, Judd, and we've already talked about that, Dad says. He's the one who's going to pay Doc Murphy for patching him up, and as soon as the dog's strong, we'll drive him over to your place. Why don't you let us keep him until then, in case he needs more care? Judd stands up and looks at me. I stare back, but I don't say nothing. And then Ma can't take it anymore. She says, Judd, Marty's got awfully attached to that dog, and we'd like to know how much you want for it. Maybe we can scrape the money up to buy him. Judd looks at her like she's talking some kind of nonsense, like we are all getting crazier by the minute. The dog's not for sale, he says. Pay good money to get a hunting dog, and he could be one of the best I've had. You want to keep and feed him till he's better? Okay with me. It's you that got him all tore up, and you paying the bill. But I want him back by Sunday. Screen door slams again, and the truck starts up, and then he's gone. Oh man, guys. I'm a little let down. I thought Marty's mom had it there. You know, mom's always saved the day, and mom stepped in and was strong and was like, Marty loves the dog. You should get him. How much do you want? We already kind of know that Judd only paid like $35 for the dog. I think he said in the beginning, though, or that's about what he usually pays for a dog. So I think maybe he's trying to be a little tough on them, saying he won't sell the dog. He was never that fond of Shiloh, not like they are. He always was kicking him and telling him that he wasn't a good dog. So I'm interested to see where this goes. How about we just write down what our favorite part of Shiloh's been, because we haven't got to read Shiloh in a while, and maybe that'll help you remember some of the different parts, maybe them running through the field and playing, or when he, some different parts, just when Mom got to meet him and Mom caught him, or when his friend found out about him, when he came back from being hurt. There's lots of good parts in the story, so just tell me what's your favorite part, and maybe we can see if anybody has similar ones, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I can't wait to see you guys. All right, keep doing your best at home.